Amongst the forgotten sci-fi gems on Stuview TV today, we've got a crime-fighting computer program come to life, an underwater Patrick Duffy, and Vincent Price as the host on board a time-travelling train. So, just what was the 1976 ITV sci-fi series Star Maidens all about? Let's find out.
A society ruled by women. This perfect condition existed as long ago as 1,000 orbits, when our planet Medusa belonged to the solar system of Proxima Centauri. These were the golden years of our history. Led by the Grand Council of Women, we had created a world of intellect, of leisure, and of advanced technology where the menial tasks and some others were patiently performed by our men. Then came the great comet Dionysius. As it passed, its vast mass dragged us towards the frozen infinity of outer space. Slowly at first, giving us a chance to plan and build the cities we know today deep under the surface, before Medusa was finally encased in a blanket of ice. Then, one day an expedition to the surface returned with great news. We had arrived in a new solar system, a solar system containing another life-supporting planet called Earth. Earth proved a great disappointment to us. Contrary to all common sense, it was controlled by men. Typically, we found it to be crude, primitive, muddling along in an untidy and disease-prone existence.
A British-German co-production, Star Maidens ran for one series of 13 episodes between September and December 1976. Now a bit of a cult favourite, the series had a very similar look and feel to another ITV science fiction series of the time, Space 1999. This was no mere coincidence, however, as both series employed the services of the same production designer, although Star Maidens had a decidedly lower budget. A fun series that is definitely not to be taken too seriously, Star Maidens featured Judy Geeson as Supreme Councillor Fulvia and a pre-Blake 7 Gareth Thomas. Star Maidens is available on DVD. If you were one of the many children who watched the 7-part Children of the Stones when it was first broadcast in 1976, it is highly likely that the series has stayed with you in some way ever since. Lauded by many as perhaps the most chilling children's television series ever made, the haunting theme music alone was enough to frighten the life out of most viewers. I wish I could play it for you now, but copyright is prohibiting that. On second thoughts, maybe that's for the best. Another series to feature future Blake 7 star Gareth Thomas, Children of the Stones tells a fairly complex story involving a megalithic stone circle, druid priests, a time rift, energy beams and psychic powers. It was pretty powerful stuff for a series aimed at younger viewers. Even today, almost 50 years since it was first broadcast, Children of the Stones is still regarded as a true landmark in children's television drama and is available on DVD. Another British television sci-fi series, initially set in a small village, this time aimed at an older audience, The Tripods was broadcast on Saturday evenings between September 1984 and November 1985, running for 25 episodes over 2 series. Although scripts for a third series were written, the show was cancelled due to poor ratings. A joint production between the BBC and Australia's Network 7, The Tripods was based on a series of novels by John Christopher. In a post-apocalyptic world, most of humanity has been enslaved by an alien race known as the Masters, who pilot giant three-legged machines called tripods. Looking to escape the aliens' mind control process known as capping, young teenager Will and his friends set off for the White Mountains, an area which is free of tripods. The Tripods is available on DVD. Often mistaken for being a Gerry Anderson series, Starfleet was actually a Japanese production, known as X-Bomber in its native country. The newly dubbed series was first shown on UK TV in 1982, having debuted in Japan in October 1980. Running for 24 episodes with a continual story arc running throughout, Starfleet was set at the end of the 30th century, with the safety of the Earth in the hands of the Earth Defense Force, specifically the crew of the experimental craft the X-Bomber.
Space Pilot John Lee.
And I'm Barry Hercules, Doc.
For the English version of the series, the voice of the main villain, Commander Makara, was provided by actress Denise Breyer, who also voiced the terrifying Zelda in Gerry Anderson's Terrorhawks. Starfleet is available on DVD. The short-lived series The Man from Atlantis actually began as 4 separate television movies, which proved popular enough to warrant a full 13-episode series. A pre-Dallas Patrick Duffy is Mark Harris, believed to be the only surviving member of the lost civilization of Atlantis. With his webbed hands and feet, incredible underwater abilities, and supreme strength, Harris is recruited by a government agency which conducts top-secret ocean research. While the original films were a little more serious, as the series went on, the plots became ever more fantastical. Patrick Duffy would later describe some of these later, more far-fetched episodes as being akin to the 1960s Batman series, although not a huge rating success in the US. When shown in the UK, The Man from Atlantis managed to beat the BBC's Doctor Who in the ratings.
It's when he's in his own underwater surroundings that the fantastic and magical happen, where we discover there are no dangers like the perils of the depths.
You wanted to.
The Man from Atlantis, starring Patrick Duffy and Belinda Montgomery.
Another short-lived sci-fi series lasting for just 13 episodes, American TV production The Invisible Man starred British actor David McCallum in the title role. First broadcast in 1975, the series saw McCallum play research scientist Daniel Westin, who is conducting experiments in teleportation. One of the side effects of the teleportation process is temporary invisibility, a condition which, unfortunately for Westin, becomes permanent. While working as an agent, Westin continues to try to find a cure for his invisibility. Due to low ratings, The Invisible Man was cancelled after 1 season. However, an almost identical series, The Gemini Man, was swiftly put into production, but this only lasted for 11 episodes. The Invisible Man is available on DVD. Created by renowned scriptwriter Nigel Neal, the character of scientist Professor Bernard Quatermass first appeared in the 1953 BBC series The Quatermass Experiment. With 2 more series following, and all 3 series being remade for the big screen by Hammer Films, Quatermass soon became an iconic character in the world of science fiction. After a 20-year gap on television, Professor Quatermass returned to the small screen in 1979, this time for ITV. With Neil once more writing the script and acting royalty Sir John Mills in the title role, the simply titled Quatermass certainly had pedigree. However, this new production wasn't as well received as previous instalments. Broadcast over 4 one-hour episodes, Quatermass was released as a 100-minute theatrical film in European territories under the title The Quatermass Conclusion. Moving forward once more to the 1980s, short-lived series Automan boasted an interesting concept which unfortunately didn't catch on with viewers. First airing in the US in 1983 and in the UK on BBC One in 1984, Automan featured the crime-fighting adventures of the title character, an artificially intelligent computer program who is able to take on a physical form at night. Aided by his creator Walter and sidekick Cursor, who is able to generate vehicles such as a car, plane and helicopter, Automan's only real weakness was his excessive use of electricity, made worse during daylight hours. Automan was cancelled after one series due to poor ratings and high production costs. However, it can be found on DVD. While the Planet of the Apes franchise overall is most definitely not forgotten, the 1974 television series is often overlooked today when compared with the various film versions. Although made on a much smaller scale than the original 1968 Charlton Heston-led film, this television adaptation is just as thoughtful story-wise. Two astronauts crash land on Earth thousands of years in the future. Befriending a chimpanzee named Galen, the trio spend most of the series on the run from High Counselor Zaius and his Chief of Security Urko. One of the things I remember most about watching Planet of the Apes as a child is the amazing title sequence, which ensured I was riveted to the screen from the start. The Planet of the Apes TV series is a bit of an underrated gem, which is well worth your time seeking out once more.
What would you do if you could travel back in time and relive a turning point in your life? It's possible aboard the Time Express. A doctor must find a mysterious man from his wife's past.
I'm asking you to save her life.
Am I gonna die?
Our second passenger is a garbage man who bags a fortune.
There are $2 million here.
And I'm giving back every penny of it.
Join me and my passengers on the Time Express, Thursday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
As a fan of the legendary Vincent Price, I thought I knew most of the productions he starred in over the years. However, the short-lived fantasy series Time Express from 1979 passed me by completely. It's such a shame that only 4 episodes of Time Express were made before being cancelled, as the series had a great premise that could have lent itself well to multiple seasons. Vincent Price got to star alongside his real-life wife, Coral Brown, too, the couple playing the hosts on board the Time Express, a train which takes chosen passengers back in time to a certain period in their life and gives them the opportunity to change past events. Each episode featured 2 stories. A fascinating little curio, episodes of Time Express can be seen right here on YouTube. How many of the series featured today do you remember watching? Are there any here you haven't seen yet but would like to? Do please let me know in the comments. As always, many thanks for watching, and do join me next time for more nostalgic goodness.